Okay, what's the next one?
Help her out.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? It's a beautiful day. We welcome everybody that's here today. I'm glad you're here. Is there anybody new today celebrating with us for the first time? Nobody? Just good friends. Thank you for coming. Who's laughing at me? Laurel. The one-minute reader today will be Ann Dieter, and our guest musician is Bob Grubel, and Ann will be doing that 1 minute right now.
Don't let people put thoughts in your head. Respect the power of words and thoughts, both from your own and others. Our ideas and inspirations sometimes come from other people, come from outside us. But if we're not careful, it's easy for others to put their ideas and intentions into our minds, to cast their spells on us. You aren't very creative. Your heart isn't open. You're really not that healthy. You need me to succeed. You don't deserve success. In fact, you don't deserve. How easy it is to be unaware of the process, to walk around with other people's words in our head, taking them as truth, taking them as our own, letting their ideas about us control our lives and our beliefs. We don't have to let others put their spells on us. We don't have to believe what they say. What are the words others have spoken to you? The spells they've cast on you in your life? What phrases are echoing in your mind? And who do they belong to? Listen to what you hear, and if they are not yours, get them out. Words are powerful. Don't let other people put them in your head, and choose carefully the words you speak to them.
Thank you, Ann. That was good. We're going to have another projection song. It's called "I Sing the Mighty Power of God," verses 1 and 2.
That It's time for our Bible verse, and it's time for me to turn on the intercom too. Isn't it? No, I lied. We keep going back to the Bible because it has such wisdom within it. And pluck it here and there and nourish. They're nourished inwardly. Our souls are nourished when we read it, when we hear about it, think about it. This is from Isaiah 43:2. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned. That's an assurance. That's knowing that God is mighty in the midst of our lives, no matter what we happen to be facing, whether it's easy or it's uplifting or it's fun or good times or it's not such good times. Certainly when we go through the fires of life, when we have to face some difficult experiences, or the people we love are facing some difficult experiences, we have to remember these words or words similar to them. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee. The waters, the troubled waters of life. They shall not overflow thee. It's not going to wipe you out. It's not going to leave you feeling bereft and depressed and certain that the worst is going to happen. No. As we realize we are never, ever alone. Whatever we're dealing with, there is another power within. And my goodness, how wise and how comforting it is to just invite that power to say, thank you, Father. Or, as Jesus said, of myself I could do nothing. The wisest, most powerful, spiritual human being who ever walked the earth said, I can do nothing. But he knew that God could do it through him. And that's what we want to do. We want to generate that feeling every single time maybe it's just as simple as having to adjust to some kind of change, or what are we going, this or that, would that be better than this? It doesn't matter. Nothing's large to God. Nothing. So we go back to him, just what do I do now? And then we go a bit ahead with our very best instincts and intuition. And it works out. It's good. It's okay. You didn't make a mistake. But when thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned. And there are fires in life. There are challenges. There are differences of opinion. There are people who seem to get in your face. There are unhappy moments. And there are wonderful, blissful, happy moments as well. But you've always got help. Always. Trick is to remember it, to keep depending, to make it a habit, to keep tuning in. And that's for us to do. That's for us to do, and as we do it, well, we see more and more and more how powerful it is, how successful it is, how useful, how uplifting it is. Let's say our divine science statement of being together, because that's another one of those affirmations, those words, perhaps not from the Bible, but in that same vein. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and I'm ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm going to share a song this morning that's about family. I played this here before, but it's probably been quite a while. I wrote it many years ago for a family reunion. The focus of that reunion was my uncle and his wife had been together at that point for 50 years. He passed 2 years ago, right before my mother passed, so brother and sister-in-law together. And, there's still two of them left over. Having a great time. This is called Every One of Us Has Got a Name. We are born into the family of humankind, greeted by the heart of love and home. By luck or chance, intent or grace, no one really knows. Blood of ancients runs inside our bones. Names that we all carry, gifts from those who love, give us birth and care till we move on. No task in life is simple, parenting is one. Offers us a love that knows no bounds. There are those who stay together 50 years or more, some across the oceans to open up life's door. From sea to sea we learn to dance on the always changing shore. Every one of us has got a name. What we make of every moment, it's only ours to choose. Till the soil teacher make amends. Ah, we labor with a vision of what we came here for. When we give, we honor what has passed before. There are those who stay together 50 years or more, some across the ocean to open up life's door. From sea to sea we learn to dance on the always changing shore. Every one of us has got a name. Is different. No two are the same. We return from where it is we came. Celebrate our living, laughter, song, and game, and give thanks for sharing in life's flame. There are those who stay together 50 years or more, some across the oceans to open up life's door. From sea to sea we learn to dance on the always changing shore. Every one of us has got a name. Every one of us else has got a name.
Time for our healing meditation. Time to unwind. We don't take too many breaks for ourselves. We don't get still, probably, as much as we could or should. But now is a good time to do just that. Perfect. Time to take a deep, cleansing breath. Slowly, slowly, slowly let it out. And check our bodies for the tension that we so often carry in our faces, our shoulders, arms, hands, and back, wherever. And let them go. Let those tired, tight muscles just relax. Take in another deep cleansing breath. Let it out ever so slowly. And sense that life within yourself. The gentle hum of blood moving through blood vessels, carrying nutrients to every part of the body. The tummy digesting your last meal. Your eyes clothed in your eyelids, just resting. How wonderful this miracle of life within us is. And even if it might not be perfect for us, we give thanks for the abundance of it that we feel right at this moment. We give thanks for the healing process that goes on constantly. Those white blood cells cleansing the blood, cutting down any interloper, anything that might do harm. The process that heals every tiny little wound or every large wound is incessant, is perfect, is God's life expressing in you right now, making possible your ability to stand up and walk away, your ability to hear, to taste, to think, ponder, enjoy, laugh, be grateful for all the many, many aspects of life that are yours. When we weigh what we have versus what we don't have or would like, what we have vastly outweighs anything that might be lacking. And we feel nothing but gratitude for that right now. Take in another deep breath. Feel our chests move, our diaphragm move a little bit. All automatic. Don't have to think about any of it. It just happens deep within the body. For all of this and so much more, we can express thanks to the author of life, to that divine life that fills us because God fills us. This day we give thanks also for the life, the good, the abundance, the opportunities for the people who are on our Valley Community prayer list. We give thanks for the life expressing in all the leadership of the world, and that life might bring inspiration and wisdom and the very best choices for that country or those countries. And one final deep breath, giving thanks for all the blessings we have, all those we have had, and for all those that are to come. In our 90 seconds of silence, let us deeply breathe and give thanks for life itself, a gift from God. Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. What a blessing it is to rest, knowing what a privilege life itself is, feeling grateful for our ability to move around, do those things we need and want to do, the freedom that gives us, and the opportunities for all that we are blessed with, the least of which is not our life, for there is nothing for which we can be more grateful than that. But this day, we give thanks for that and everything else. Everything. Amen. Shall we say together the Lord's Prayer in the affirmative? If you don't know it, it is on the very first page of the hymn. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. Thou givest us this day our daily bread. Thou forgivest us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Thou leadest us not into temptation, but dost deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Well, this morning, I'm going to be talking about Ho'oponopono. Ever heard of that word? Ho'oponopono. I said it wrong. Ho'oponopono. Well, it's a Hawaiian word. And anybody heard it before? Aha. Yeah. Okay. Couple people. 3 of you. Good, good. That's fine. So, but I'm going to explain it to the rest of you in just a minute. But first I wanted to talk about something that's certainly dear to my heart. It's dear to the heart of divine science. And that is to remind you of the great spiritual law that we celebrate in divine science. It's right in our textbook, and it's repeated many, many times in our textbook, Divine Science is Principle and Practice. We celebrate this great truth because it defines us as we truly are. Now, it's on page 61 and a whole bunch of other pages, but page 61 talks about the law of expression. Like produces like. And then it goes on immediately to quote Jesus when he spoke in John 3:6. He said, "That which is born of spirit is spirit." What a wonderful way to be defined. How powerful a way to be defined. My primary identity is that of a spiritual being. I am born of spirit. Therefore, I am spirit. And if you look at that, you realize that Jesus is just restating what was said in Genesis 1:26. And God said, "Let us make man in our image and after our likeness." Same thing, exactly. That which is born of spirit is spirit. You hear it? It's the same thing. He was emphasizing it. Okay. It's wonderful. He gave us that gift. Because our lifelong identification has always been with the physical part of us, we were not generally aware early on about how powerful the spiritual dimension within us was. Oh, most of us heard about a soul or a higher self or something like that. It was kind of fuzzy, amorphous, you know. It didn't have very much clarity or very much importance somehow. But most of us learned about this spiritual dimension more and more later in life. It became more important, perhaps. Even if we were one of those people who picked up self-help books and read them all, or perhaps we walked into a church like this one and heard about our all-powerful spiritual nature that creates like God creates. You know, certainly when we began realizing that creative process took place through the way we were thinking, well, it took a while for that idea to sink in. Yes, you get it in self-help books, and certainly you get it in this church, but for it to have a reality, it takes a while. And then we start paying attention to our thinking patterns. And this is not something that we've been accustomed to doing whatsoever. But when we do start listening to ourselves, what we're saying to ourselves, we're often surprised at how negative it is. But then we begin to try to do something about that. And we also begin to see the relationship between what we're thinking and our experiences. And sometimes we can think one thing and by gum, something happens out here, and it's a direct reflection of what we have been thinking. It's a surprising thing, and a very interesting thing as we sort this out, as we unfold. Now, we certainly read that we are to carefully guard our thoughts. We have to keep them from anger and fear. We have to keep them from criticizing of other people. Our hatred, oh my gosh, hatred, envy. Because why? They can cause negative things to happen in our bodies, in our relationships, in our finances, and you name it. It can be reflected. What we are thinking, these powerful thoughts can affect so much. Like does produce like. But happily, when we cultivate thoughts, and especially feelings that are peaceful, that are kindness, that see good in other people, that feel gratitude, feel that a sense of goodwill to everybody that we know, our ability, again, as spiritual beings, works equally well to bring about blessings to us and to make life so much better. Positive thoughts bring wonderful effects. They make our lives more fulfilling. We're more inwardly peaceful, certainly. And life becomes so much better an experience. So much. Now, mind science doesn't really talk about this, but I have read it and heard it actually in a fair number of people. And what they say is that this innate spiritual power within us means that we are totally responsible for everything in our lives. Everything? Oh, come on. Everything. So that means that I'm directly responsible for any physical problem I might have right now or might have had in the past, or any accident, fell down, broke my nose, or whatever. That if business is having a slump, or maybe the job market is not very active, I'm responsible for that? Well, wait a minute. I can see getting responsible or being responsible for the things that happen to me. I can see that I'm responsible for when I get irritated because somebody in front of me is driving too slow and I'm always in a hurry. But am I also responsible for that crabby relative that I have, or that supercritical boss, or maybe the noisy neighbor, or that poor alcoholic down the street? I'm responsible? I can see that I'm responsible for what I say and what I do, but total responsibility means that I am responsible for my whole human experience, and that includes all sorts of other people who don't do what they should do, or maybe they do things they shouldn't do. I'm responsible. That is one enormous pill to swallow. Absolutely. But that's where Ho'oponopono comes in. Because it's a Hawaiian healing process. And we might listen with some care to a description of what it consists of, because it appears to work. A man by the name of Joe Vitale has written 2 books about this subject. And Joe Vitale is a speaker, he's a musician, he's a co-author of the New York Times bestselling book a few years back, The Secret. Remember that one? Yeah. Then there was a movie on The Secret, and he was in that movie. He was in other movies as well. But Vitale's written many other books in addition to The Secret, including one called Zero Limits and At Zero, which Robert wrote about, Joe wrote about. And it is about Ho'oponopono. Now, Joe's interest started when he heard about a Hawaiian therapist who cured a complete ward of criminally insane patients. So he cured them without ever seeing them. Well, Joe thought it was just an urban legend of some sort. But then he began hearing about it again, and he decided he better look into this. He better start investigating into this. This psychologist apparently would study an inmate's chart and then look within himself and see how he created that person's illness. Now that is what is known as total responsibility. And as the therapist improved himself, the patient improved. Whew. At first, Vitale just didn't believe it. But when he heard about this therapist again, several other times, he said, I'm going to find out, I'm going to get a bottom of this. This totally different perspective. It really was an advanced perspective on total responsibility. He had made himself responsible for all those criminally insane people. Well, he found out who it was. It was a Dr. Len. And he called up Dr. Len, talked to him on the phone, asked him to please tell him his complete story about his work as a therapist. And Dr. Len told Vitale that he had worked at the Hawaii State Hospital for 4 years with the ward where they kept the criminally insane. And that ward was a very dangerous place. Psychologists quit on a monthly basis. The staff would call in sick a great deal or just plain out and out not come back. People would go through the wards if they had to, with their backs up against the wall because they were afraid they were going to be attacked by the patients. This was a very unpleasant place for the patients to live, much less for anybody to have to work there or visit there. Dr. Len told Vitale that he never saw any of the patients. He had an office where he reviewed their files, and as he looked at their files, he would work on himself. And as he worked on himself, the patients began to heal. After a few months of this, patients that had been shackled were being allowed to walk around freely. The heavily medicated ones were coming off some of their medications and then gradually not taking as much, and then finally were medication free. The ones who would never ever be released had changed so much that they were being released. Not only that, the absenteeism and the turnover in the staff disappeared. It was a much happier place to come to work. Eventually the ward was closed. Then Vitale asked the $64,000 question. What were you doing inside yourself that caused all these people to change? Dr. Len said, well, I was simply healing that part of me that created them. And Vitale just didn't understand that at all. Dr. Len explained, total responsibility in your life and for your life means that everything in your life, simply because it is in your life, is your responsibility. In a literal sense, the entire world is your creation. Vitaly said that was a very large pill to swallow, and I couldn't agree more. Because it means that everything I see, hear, taste, smell, touch, everything I say, everything I do, every experience I have, if I don't like it, it's a projection of something inside me. It means that the job market, the terrorist activity that's going on in the Middle East, the president, if you don't happen to like him, or the next president, if you're afraid of someone who might get elected, the economy, the stock market not going up and up as it had, that grabby relative, anything you don't like in your life is up to you to heal. The problem isn't in them, it's in you. And it's for you to change them. First, changing you. Well, Vitaly admitted that this was not only tough to understand, it was even tougher to accept. And much tougher than that to actually live. Blaming is so much easier. Phew. But Joe Vitaly gradually realized that Ho'oponopono actually means loving yourself. Well, that doesn't sound bad, does it? Huh. Vitaly kept pushing, kept asking, how? How exactly did Dr. Len change himself? How did he heal himself and thereby heal other people? What was he doing when he looked at those files, those patient files? And Dr. Len answered, I just kept saying to myself, I'm sorry. I love you. I just kept saying that to myself over and over. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. I love you. Again and again and again. That's it. That's it. Turns out that loving yourself and forgiving yourself is the greatest way to improve yourself as well as improve your world. You know, Joe Vitaly apparently became equally successful in affirming these things to himself, these words, and praying in this way to himself. And he found that this act of loving and forgiving yourself was very effective. It was effective in both healing himself and other people, just as Dr. Len had found it. One of Joe Vitaly's his most recent books about Ho'oponopono was written with Dr. Len as his co-editor or his co-author. Well, now, what would divine science have to say about holding responsibility? Divine science doesn't go quite that far. No. It does celebrate the truth that like creates like. That spiritual law that says that that which is born of spirit is spirit. We were created by spirit, we are spirit. We are powerful as spiritual beings. Divine science certainly rejoices that we are God's image and likeness, and everything that means, and everything we don't know that it means. We create as God creates. We absolutely can create, and we know that. We can create a healthier body, a more harmonious environment. We can just make everything a positive difference in every way, shape, and form when we think more loving thoughts. Greater abundance, more opportunities come to us. Becoming a conduit for God's love in action in the world. That's just part of thinking, feeling more loving throughout our lives. But is the entire world our creation, and are we responsible for healing all of it? I don't know. I don't. Our founders didn't say that specifically, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to assume that if there's something in our life, in our world, that we don't like, it certainly wouldn't hurt, and it might be very helpful to love and forgive ourselves. It said that we couldn't see a fault in another person if we didn't have it in ourselves first. You know, Jesus spoke about forgiveness. He talked about loving your neighbor as yourself. But even though he spoke many times about these two things, I don't ever remember anything in the New Testament that says that we should forgive ourselves. But we know that that is all important, that we do forgive ourselves. Maybe it just went unreported. Maybe he did say it. He just never got it down on paper. So, should we pray and affirm, I love you, I forgive you? Maybe we don't have to take on the whole world. Maybe we don't have to take on the stock market and the war in Syria and the hungry children in Sudan. We don't have to take all of that on. Maybe if we just take on the things that bother us and use these ideas, say to ourselves, I love you, I forgive you. And there's even an outside chance that it could heal others. It could heal our world. Why shouldn't we? Why not? Let's close our eyes and go with this. I love you. I forgive you. Those words might resonate deep within us, or they might just lay on the surface of our minds and really not penetrate very far. It's all in what is right for us now. But, oh Father, Mother God, beloved one, you who love us unconditionally and who will help us whenever we turn to you, you who have established within us your very nature, your power, your love, your wisdom, your understanding and peace and joy. We thank you. So direct us. Show us. Will this help? Would it hurt? For your direction in this and in everything in our lives. We say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Maurita. I know I needed to hear that. Be reminded. Those are so wonderful. So I'm going to dig into a song that I wrote many years ago. I don't know if any of you remember when I played with Grace Note, Tom Williams, Marcus Cover. This song ended up being the title track of one of the CDs we did back then. And the song speaks of some of the things that you were speaking of. I'm always amazed. I pick stuff, I come here and you talk about it, or Vero talks about it. Like a carpenter at the lathe, I can turn what's inside out. I always dreamed of flying. I always dreamed of flying. Oh, I left the ground. Then I found myself up so high, and I'm looking at the stars all around. I really was suspended, waiting to come down. Oh, and I'm looking at the stars all around. Little children all alone, big people that got no home. Mother on the run, crazy people with all these guns. But still I always have this faith that it will work out. Like a carpenter at the lathe, I can turn what is inside out. The situation's changing like a bold sunset. It's called the color mystery. Here's a vision of what I can get. Grow the trust to re-emerge. Something deeper than the spoken word. Tolerance of every kind. Awesome love can open our hearts and minds. Always dreamed of flying. Won't you join me there? In a world where everyone built in love and not despair. Love and not despair. Yeah, love and not despair. In a world, everyone built in love and not despair. But I love and not despair. Yeah, love and not despair. Love and not despair. Lord, and not despair. Have a great day. That's that CD. I got it up there.
That was lively. I like that. Oh, it's now time for blessing of the gifts. Okay, let's all say together. Today,
I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent, blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you for your love.
It's a wonder to me how I can forget something that I say every week.
Got it.
Prayer basket. The prayer basket. Prayer basket.
For those of you who would like to take a prayer and hold someone in mind through this week, I'm going to be passing it around. There's no need for you to do this. This is strictly volunteer. But we give, we get. When we sow, we reap. And if we sow a prayer, a loving thought, comes back to us multiplied 10 times, 100 times. So for those of you who would like to take a prayer request, please do. Thank you.
Sam has some announcements.
Try to make these short. Sylvia Clarkson has let us borrow this movie, War Room, and several people have seen it, and some people said they'd like to see it. It's about prayer. So we haven't had a chance to show it yet, but if anybody's interested in seeing this, let me know so we can set up a date. I'd like to try to do it this week if possible so I can get the book back to her because she's been showing it to different people, groups. So anyhow, if anybody's interested in seeing this, let me know and we'll try to set it up for one evening this week, probably Friday evening if that works. So see me after church so I can see if anybody wants to do that. Also, coming up in July is the Divine Science Conference in Miami. It's from July the 27th to the 30th. If anyone's interested in going, we've got brochures, so please see myself or Maurita about it. We'll have some brochures for you. Next Saturday, the 23rd, we're supposed to have a hike at Reed Mountain. But Kate and I determined that since a lot of people have asked and it's a rather steep hike, we will change it so more people can go. The main thing is that we want people to be together. So we have talked this morning briefly about maybe doing the Greenway or at some point. So if anybody's interested in going next Saturday, get with us and we'll determine where on the Greenway we'll go and what time we're going to start. I said 9 o'clock and Kate said, well, no, let's go at 10 if we're going on the Greenway. So anyhow, we'll discuss that. But let me know who's going and that way we'll decide where on the Greenway we're going that way. And we'll do Reed Mountain another time. The bylaws will be voted on next Sunday after church. Coming up in May, we have quite a few things going on. We have a lot of young people in this church. On May the 1st, we're having a birthday celebration for Carrie's mother, who will be 100 years old. So we will be celebrating again next that Sunday after church. We'll be having another party. Also on May, that following Saturday, which is May the 7th, we're having Blessing of the Animals and an SPCA adoption day for anybody that wants to adopt an animal or donate money to that cause. And I don't know the time yet. I still got to get with the lady at SPCA and see what time they want to be here. And then later on in that day, we're going to have a fun day at the church. It's called Derby Day because it's Kentucky Derby Day, and so we're going to do something fun for that. Let's see. This week's flowers are sponsored by Maurita for Mr. Wiggins' birthday.
You know, it's, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
I don't know how to say thank you enough for all the cards and the well wishes on my birthday. I truly appreciate the expressions and the cards and the various things that were done for my birthday. And you know, there's something else I'd like to mention about my birthday. Most of us have great respect for doctors. I know I do. People expect so much of them, and sometimes they can help, and sometimes they can't, but they try. Now, one doctor that operated on me about 3 years ago for a pain I had in the leg, and he operated on me, and in the morning and that afternoon he came to my hospital room, and he said, "Wiggins," he said, "how do you feel?" I said, "Well, the pain is gone. I think you did a good job." He said, "Well, I want you to come and see me in 2 weeks." He said, "See how you're doing." So 2 weeks later, I was sitting in his office, and I was sitting at a chair facing the desk, and he was at his desk looking at my chart. And the chart had all my vital statistics on it. He said, "I see by this paper that I have that you're 92 years old." This was 3 years ago. I said, "Yeah, that's correct." And he kept nodding, and he said, "Put the paper down," and he pointed at me and he said, "Wiggins," he said, "most people your age are dead." Thank you all so much.
May I say something too, please? There were lovely gifts and cards of all sorts last week. And some of the cards separated from the gifts. And someone gave Eddie a beautiful box of Ghirardelli chocolates. And there was also some bubbles. And then there was a gift certificate to country cooking. And we couldn't identify who to thank for these things. So if somebody did that, would you please come whisper in my ear something very soon, please? Because we want to say thank you. Thank you.
Our closing hymn today is "You'll Never Walk Alone." Every time I think of this song, I think about myself. I have a problem with my knee, and I've always got my wonderful niece Laurel to help me in and out of the car and around and help me keep from falling. So please stand, and it's on page 53, and we'll sing all the way through.